Hello everyone, welcome back to another reaction video. So I was just thinking on what should I be reacting to, and then I just got an idea, but I feel like that needs to be in hold because I had got a recommendation by someone who wants me to react to Green Scorpion Top 10. I have no idea who this person is, so I was very interested to see what he has covered. And Lord behold, this guy has covered a lot of things that I didn't even know, and some that really caught my interest. And so we are going to go to react the top 10 pirate games of all time. Now, for me, I feel like it could be either Seas of Thieves or Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Those are the two I think that's gonna be up there. But everything else I sort of don't know. Also, if you guys hearing a fan, well, that's because it's on and my balls are sweaty, so I need some some coolness, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I will leave a link in the description down below of him, and I also want to give a good shout out to I forgot who was the commenter, but I will give a shout out to him to recommend reacting to his content. Now, if this does well, then I will continue reacting to him, and if it doesn't, well, I guess another recycling bin. I don't know. But anyway, let us, react to him. If you guys enjoy this, just hit all those tiny buttons down below, and can you please recommend things that I either be very interesting in or just, I just need the views. So let's do it. The Green Scorpion presents, of course, Pokemon. Well, how have I never thought of Pokemon? Fuck. John, Amber, Joe, Oscar. Top 10 video game pirates. Alright, I suppose this is number 10. Oh, wait, nope. Let me turn this off.
Avast ye mateys, the Green Scorpion be here with a crusty countdown straight from Davy Jones' locker. My year-long voyage to remake my older lists has brought me to one of the black spots of my cabin boy days. A little experiment called the Top 5 Pirates vs. Ninjas. Obviously an idea inspired by Death Battle, but I be none too proud of this one. Besides the low quality of my older work, the idea just wasn't sound and left both topics at low tide. So for the remaining two remastered countdowns,
Okay.
I'm giving each the time they deserve. And today, it's all about the bane of the beaches, the pirates. And I'm not talking about those of you playing Mother 3 in English. Going with the first definition, piracy is any form of crime on or bordering the sea, generally thievery. So as soon as mankind had boats, we had pirates. But culturally, pirates as we know them took form after the founding of the Americas, when
Oh, yes.
intercontinental trade was so prevalent and European navies were so overextended that pilfering pioneers led the seven seas into the golden age of piracy.
Yeah, and also I want to bring out something. There is a character that probably is the most underrated character of all time, and I'm pretty shocked that barely everyone knows about him or even get a documentation of him. Or maybe they have, it's just that it didn't become very cool on how they were handling his story, and that would be a man called John Paul Jones. Now, if you don't know who he is, then I'm just keeping it really short and simple that he is a Marine who does a lot of, pirate tactics against the British. And this caused the British to start questioning their own government and how they should run the system. And he does a lot of cool shit. Like he always steals ships and sells them to other nations. And that's pretty badass in my opinion. And this is just like one of the most badass characters in human history. I think another character that is very cool would be Grant. Um, I think from the Civil War. Grant. I don't remember his name, but I was watching a documentation from Netflix talking about his story, and I'm just like, why isn't John Paul Jones doesn't get that treatment? Like it's live action, you see some real shots, you see like imagery, like you see all these cool shit, and he doesn't get it, and it's just sad. But whatever. Let's continue.
Let's be clear right here. Pirates are not good people.
No.
They stole, they killed, and they were usually awful to women, and they probably smelled really bad.
So basically, like the cartels.
But stories of the great Calico Jack, William Kidd, Thomas Tew, and the legendary Blackbeard captured the imaginations of landlubbers back home. Not only were trade ships increasingly jeopardized, hundreds of sailors and soldiers were quitting legal work to pursue the exciting lifestyle of the seafaring swashbuckler. Pirate ships even had comparable working conditions to royal ships, with legal documentation ensuring workers' rights and even health care. Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Whoa,
you
really?
all shared in the plunder, and you all got extra for every hand, foot, or eye you lost. Pirates can be brutal, bloodthirsty, downright evil, but they can also embody a sense of freedom and self-made liberty against governments that clearly didn't have their people's best interests at heart.
The One
There are lots of ways to be a
Piece.
pirate, but for the sake of this countdown, we're looking for recognizable pirate traits like a cool ship, proficiency with swords and or pistols, or command of a bunch of rough and tough ravagers. We'll be ranking partly on how well they embody this trope, partly on how successful they are in their life of crime, and because I did the research, bonus points if we can liken them to an infamous pirate,
Hey!
either historical or fictitious.
Persona 5.
Whether they're more of a Dread Pirate Roberts or Errol Flynn, you'll usually know a good pirate when you see them, or at least when they're sailing away with your hard-earned doubloons.
Yeah.
We've got a cantankerous cabin of caustic, chaotic corsairs to choose from, a plethora of peerless privateers, and a multitude of mangy marauders. So let's batten down the hatches. Dead men make no videos. This be Captain Green Scorpion, and this be the top 10 video game pirates.
Also, I was wondering, guys, what was your first ever introduction of pirates? Was it One Piece? Was it Star Wars? Was it what else was it? Was it Power Rangers? Like, what was the first ideology that you found in pirates? Like the first introduction that you say, "Oh, I want to be a pirate." What was it? Let me know in the comments. Mine was the Pirates of Caribbean, the Pirates of the Caribbean. Alright, number 10.
Basing this countdown off half a previous video means that there are only 5 previous entrants that could possibly come back, most of which did, but you'll find that my rankings are a little different. For instance, I definitely had a higher regard for League
Is
of
this?
Legends
Oh,
characters
okay.
back
I was
then.
about to say.
It was kind of my riding crutch. Peg leg? Well, anyway, despite his name being a low-hanging fruit, Gangplank still earns a spot on the list in my eyes, in part because his history in the mechanics of the game has a certain pirate mystique to it. Gangplank was one of the original 40 champions at the game's official release in 2009, and he was just about everything you'd expect
Oh,
out of your
really?
classic pirate trope. The cutlass, the hat, the salty speech pattern. Hell, one of his abilities is called Parley. Story-wise, Gangplank was the pirate king of Runeterra, often at odds with the mayor of Bilgewater, Miss Sarah Fortune. Not a lot to it at first,
I
but
recognize
unlike
her.
many of the retcons over the years that write out parts of a
34
character's
reasons.
history, Riot used the Bilgewater events to build on the continuing rivalry between the Bilgewater Bounty Hunter and the Saltwater Scourge, culminating in the
Okay.
triumphant moment when Miss Fortune finally blew up Gangplank's ship and he fucking died. And for the next few patches, up until near the end of the event, Gangplank was unplayable. His portrait was grayed out and everything, and hovering over it was met with a description, Gangplank is dead. That's actually pretty ballsy.
Wow.
And apparently unintended by the devs. The real reason he'd been disabled was to fix a game-breaking bug resulting from his most recent rework.
Oh, really?
And maintenance just happened to coincide with his death in the plot, so the devs disabled him with an ominous message and pretended it was intentional. Very clever, Riot. Shortly after that, he rose from the briny depths with a sullen scowl and a brand new mechanical arm, and he returns to the seas to rebuild his reputation after his embarrassing defeat. And meanwhile, Miss Fortune is slowly becoming the new Gangplank, realizing that for all of his crimes and general skullduggery, Gangplank kept a level of order among the pirates with some necessary cruelty. There's actually a long history of pirates appearing to die but then making a comeback. Or at least
I'm not gonna lie, the dude looks more Viking than pirate. Oh, that would be a badass combination. A pirate Viking. You not only that you have a bunch of runes from Norse mythology, but you also have a fucking giant ass bazooka cannon thing.
A lot of people like to
Or a
think that.
mechanical
For
arm, that
example,
works too.
French pirate Jean Lafitte faked his own death in the Gulf of Mexico in the 1820s, lying low in North Carolina, of all places, under a new
Really?
identity and living to the ripe old age of 96.
Damn,
But
he
even when
had a good
pirates
time.
like Blackbeard were killed in battle, theories at home would circulate that he could somehow return. Gangplank's death and subsequent return is one of those conspiracy theories coming true. And you can't spell conspiracy without piracy. It's also maybe one of the
Yeah,
best
very
character reworks
clever.
in the game's history from a narrative perspective. Then there's the actual gameplay where sometimes Gangplank just can't be beaten. Not if he gets a good enough start in the early game anyway. With pistol and cutlass in hand, Gangplank is a damage-focused melee unit but with a frequently available ranged attack. That shot, called Pearly, not only scales off of his attack stat, but also gives Gangplank bonus gold when he kills a target with it, allowing
of
him
course.
to farm GP until it's GG easy lol. He's not the tankiest top laner, but that's what Remove Scurvy is for, letting Gangplank eat some of that aforementioned low-hanging fruit. Not only do the oranges heal him, they remove all crowd control effects, leading to amazing escapes from love charms, frozen blocks of ice, tangled vines,
Oh,
and even
shit.
total petrification just
And you see, kids, you need to eat your fruits and vegetables because they will help you when you have some sort of status effects.
from taking some vitamin C. More
Yeah.
recently, Gangplank got some explosive barrels added to his kit, which he can then set off with his pistol or his cutlass and chain them together Bomberman style for insane AoE potential. And he wouldn't be much of a captain if he couldn't contribute to a team fight. With his ultimate, Gangplank orders a barrage of cannon fire anywhere on the map, pummeling opponents and slowing down stragglers for him and his teammates to finish off.
Yeah,
Or just his
basically an
teammates, because
airstrike.
quite frankly, Gangplank doesn't even need to be there. Another new development lets Gangplank collect Silver Serpents, special doubloon-like currency that lets him upgrade his ship and change the properties of Cannon Barrage in the shop. For a seemingly vanilla champion,
Jesus.
there's a lot going on with this kit. And I like how it kind of has you pirating whatever lane you're in. See, most of the time, pirates in the Golden Age didn't need to fight. They ruled through fear. They'd fly the Jolly Roger, and enemies would just surrender a portion of their goods rather than risk death. In the same way, with his focus on multiplying his gold intake and bullying opponents with Pearly, Gangplank can control the flow of gold on a third of the map. I guess that's true for most carries, but given his piratey nature, we're just gonna go ahead and say it's an intentional design choice. As intentional as his temporary death, anyway. Long live the Pirate King.
Pistols or blades don't matter to me.
Damn, I can't wait to see if Riot Games would do an animation adaptation of the pirate style in League of Legends because they already did the what was it? I think it was like I forgot the two cities name in the very first, well, the first and second from Arcane, but in the newest season that's coming out right now, we're gonna take a look at Noxus, one of the powerful empires in the League of Legends universe, and I'm very excited for it, and I hope that people will not do like how I say it, keep the tone as the very first season because I just heard a lot of mixed receptions of season 2. Like, jeez, dude. And I don't know. I'm just very curious on how they're gonna take this cinematic universe that they have into the future and how it will all culminate into the very end. I'm not sure, but yeah, we got number 9.
Now, I know I said that pirates, by definition, operate on the sea, but that's just because we don't have the technology for other kinds of pirates yet. Well, besides internet pirates, of course, but anyway. As early as 1886...
By the way, it looks like that it's more covering characters rather than, pirate games that I just mentioned, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's a combination of both. Who knows?
Sci-fi writers like Jules Verne were introducing air pirates to literature, who performed their pillaging with flying machines. Considering Final Fantasy's love for airships, it's surprising we didn't have that many major characters who were pirates. There's Ferris from 5, Setzer from 6 fits the bill, but it wasn't until 12's Realm of Ivalice that we met my favorite of Square's flying freebooters, Baltier.
I hope you
Bald
haven't forgotten
here.
my role in this little story. I'm a leading man.
He
A
sounds like
criticism
Obi-Wan.
levied against Final Fantasy XII is that it shamelessly copies the plot of the original Star Wars, with Vaughn representing Luke Skywalker, Ash as Princess Leia, and so on. And while I think that's an unfair surface-level comparison, yeah, I'll admit Baltier is a pretty fitting Han Solo. He's a debonair gunslinger figuring out his master plan as he goes along, and like the Millennium Falcon, his ship, the Strahl, is a tricked-out version of a regular cruiser that the Empire can never seem to hit. And like Chewbacca, his wingwoman Thrawn is a very tall ride-or-die partner of few words and fewer clothes who probably clogs a shower drain a lot. And for the record,
Wow.
I know I'm probably mispronouncing all of this, and I don't care. I am not re-recording this.
Oh yeah, that I understand that.
Crime started in the city's slums. Baltier was actually born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was the heir to a noble house of the Arcadian Empire. His father was an acclaimed royal scientist, and he was even on track to become a judge, a sort of government super knight in this game's world.
Oh wow.
But Baltier didn't like the dealings of the Empire or the crazed fanaticism that he saw in his father's eyes, so he struck out on his own as a freedom fighter. In that respect, he's
Oh,
not
just
Han
like
Solo at
Goldie
all.
Roger.
But from a
Oh, no,
historical
Gob.
perspective, he's more like Stede Bonnet, a wealthy landowner in British-controlled Barbados who left his privileged life behind, becoming the first example of the subtrope, the gentleman pirate. Like Bonnet, Baltier's
Gentleman
here to show
pirate.
that not all pirates need wild beards or rotted teeth. Some actually have quite superb personal hygiene. Besides his charm, what I love about Baltier is how, despite his laid-back demeanor, he's actually leading the group more than anyone notices. He may not be the captain of the group, that role mainly belongs to Bosch, but he does provide a home and structure around which the rest of the party forms, taking in street rap protagonist Vaughn and wayward Princess Ash and keeping them on track in the ultimate goal to stop the Empire. He's got a low-key but conniving wit, and while he may seem callous and pragmatic at first, in his own roundabout way, he's very kind to the kids on his ship, even becoming a mentor figure to Vaughn. My favorite bit is when he first agrees to help Ash. He takes her engagement ring as collateral until he can be properly paid for his services. And at the time, this makes him seem cold and unfeeling. But as it turns out, this was just his way of gauging Ash's conviction, seeing how important this mission was to her. And
Oh.
eventually he returns the ring, having never planned to keep it in the first place. What a guy. Honestly, he's kind of the Sid of this game. Well, his dad is a Sid of this game, that's literally his name, but he's an evil scumbag, and Baltier's the one who actually gives us a flying boat, which is the role of any good Sid. Baltier also serves as the party's thief in combat. You can build him in a number of ways, particularly in the re-release of the Zodiac Age, which expands everyone's job options, but him starting with the steel skill is a pretty good guide. And while his MP and magic stats are pitiful, he's got high strength and the highest speed in the party, befitting a swashbuckler. So get him some good weapons that scale off of that, and you've got yourself a pretty great physical DPS unit. Now, if only there were gambits to tell him to stop standing next to his enemies. Damn it, Baltier, back up for Pete's sake. You have a gun. But with a layered personality and some classic quips, Baltier serves as one of the best characters in one of the least talked about Final Fantasies. And considering the real Stede Bonnet was a failed captain who mostly lent his men to Blackbeard, the fact that Baltier is complicit in the fall of an international superpower is pretty impressive. And he never lets being a pirate come at the expense of being a gentleman. Or vice versa.
Oh, does he die? Oh. Alright, number 8. I never heard of him
Back
before.
to literary
Got nothing
tropes.
for
It
me
wasn't
to
long
say.
after the invention of air pirates that space pirates joined the pages of science
Ah,
fiction.
yes.
For what is space if not a sea of stars? Our most famous video game Space Pirates come from Metroid, and though he was on the original Pirates list, I decided to bench Ridley this time.
Ah, Ridley.
Yeah, I know,
Wait, what?
he's awesome, and I would have loved to have included him. It's just that for all of his appearances, I never really got pirate from him. He's never seen steering ships or ordering swabbies, and the most piratey thing he ever does is maybe stealing that baby Metroid. Though I suppose I could consider Mother Brain as the pirate captain, with Ridley as the parrot on her shoulder, but no. The space pirate I had in mind was Arya T'Loak from the Mass Effect series. You might remember her from
Mass
Top 10
Effect.
Crime Bosses, which was only... Holy shit, 3 years ago? I'm getting old. Well, let's
Oh,
have a
trust me,
refresher.
you're
Arya
much
is a
older
notable
now.
NPC from Mass Effects 2 and 3.
So
known
she's a
as the Pirate
pirate.
Queen of
Okay, I
Omega.
thought, not gonna lie,
Omega itself
I thought she was some like royalty. I didn't know she was a pirate.
is a space station built on an asteroid far from the Citadel or any government powers, making it a haven for the galaxy's seedier sort. First arriving under the guise of an exotic dancer, Arya overthrew the previous de facto ruler, a Krogan she later dubbed the Patriarch, who she still keeps alive as an example to those who would cross her. She knows pretty much everything that happens on her station, most of what happens off her station, and how to use all of it to secure her own power. That includes hiring Commander Shepard on occasion to protect certain assets from mercenary groups like the Blue Suns, Blood Pack, and Eclipse. She could have her own men do it, I mean, she has plenty to spare, but she doesn't want people to get the impression that she gives a fuck. And it's not like she can't afford you 1,000 times over anyway. Now, I didn't consider most of today's pirate captains for top 10 crime lords, mostly for thematic reasons, but I find Arya lands right in the middle of that Venn diagram. She fits a much rarer pirate role. Not captain of a ship, but rather the queen of what is essentially a pirate nation.
Yeah, and also I don't want to sound like feminist, but it's you know weird that we don't get much of female pirates, which is pretty a shame because I've been going through a lot of videos about pirates, and there are some pirates that are female and really became like the greatest of the great. There was one who, at the top of her peak, she decided to retire to own a casino and to make her husband a Navy officer, which is fucking insane to say the least. And and speaking of which, I just don't. For me, I just feel like when I watch One Piece, and I know this is like weird, like how did we win this to One Piece? But hear me out. Why does Oda not give us a badass woman who knows how to whoop some ass? In seriously, like it just so like most of the time I see females either being no characters, background characters, characters who don't know how to throw hands, characters who has the potential to throw hands but decided to do some lame shit just by smacking. I'm sorry, Robin, you should have gotten much more skill, but instead you just start just slapping people. Like, come on. I mean, the only character that I could think of that knows how to whoop some ass is like Uta and Yamato. Like those are the only characters I know who can just go in, want to, open just want to like break some skulls or anything like that. But it's for the rest of the time, it's so weird that we don't have any roles of, female characters who know how to handle themselves. Like it would have been such cool to have like a character that was like inspired by Chung Li, for example. She doesn't she's not very strong, like she cannot lift, but she's very like she knows how to keep her balance. She dodge and weaves. She could do such like crazy abilities and movement that causes the opponents to like okay, how the fuck I should like fight this. Or even Lady Shiva from DC Comics. Like she's not that strong, but she learns how to use pressure points. And that would have been so useful if they have like Conqueror's Haki. Like imagine having pressure points while using Conqueror's Haki. Like that shit must be like deadly. And that's another thing. We don't have much female characters who has Conqueror's Haki. I mean, the only thing I can think of will be Big Mom, but she is just an old, like, bitch. Like, she's nothing but reuse pussy every time. And she's nothing more. It's just like, come on. At least give us, like, one female character that will be, like, just an awesome character. Like, for example, I've been reading the Absolute Wonder Woman, and I feel like that is how you do a female empowerment. You show her kindness, you show her belief, you show how she stands up, you show how she thinks clearly. Like, you show all these things. I mean, one of the moments in that book is she chopped her fucking arm off so that she could send someone back to the real world. Like, that is some, like passion, some dedication, and I want that. But Oda is just focusing on some characters that don't need focus, or bring back characters that should be dead or should not be used anymore. I don't know. It's just weird. I just had to have that complaint, but whatever.
Keeping the order by
like these characters are very interesting.
Just the
like,
right places.
come on.
If Gangplank is Jean Lafitte and Baltier is Stede Bonnet, Arya T'Loak would be Jaqua Delahaye, a figure of oral storytelling from the golden age of piracy.
Wait, who?
Now, granted, there's
I
no
think I've
evidence
heard of
that
her.
Delahaye actually existed. She's a little bit too awesome to be true. But the story goes that she was born in French-controlled Haiti, disguised herself as a man to take over a gang of hundreds of pirates, and took over Tortuga, an island off the coast of Hispaniola in the Greater
Okay, no,
Antilles,
this wasn't it.
turning
It was a
into
different one.
pirate republic where sea-drenched criminals could lay low and plan their next heist.
Now, I don't want to like do that, repeatedly, pausing. I know I am doing, but I thought it was another female pirate. Now there were like a lot of female pirates, and now he's at. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh shit. Okay, I think we. No. Oh, sorry. But yeah, I thought he was gonna talk about I think her nickname was like the Lioness, I believe. I don't remember her full name, but I know that she was a total badass, and she was like a menace to the British. Like, it was awesome. But continue.
If you've ever watched Our Flag Means Death, she's the inspiration for Spanish Jackie. And I'd say Arya T'Loak fills those same buckled shoes. As the leader of this so-called pirate haven, Arya always has a contingency plan, a guy on the other side, or a gun hidden under the table. And if that's
So,
not
almost
enough,
like Batman.
she's also got centuries of life experience and whooshy space magic powers. She isn't a sorry after all. And hell, in Mass Effect 2, you can convince the Patriarch to try and take back his throne, and she'll just laugh it off and kick his ass right back to where it came from. And don't worry about her taking revenge. She loves working with, or buying, people that try to stop her. Seriously, look at Mass Effect 3. She'll help you build an army out of the Blue Suns, the Blood Pack, and Eclipse. You know, the people that were trying to kill her? Trust me, she was never in any danger. She was overthrown, however, from Omega somewhere between the second and third games.
Oh, really?
But that was by Ciri's big bad and local 8D chess master, the Elusive Man. And even then, she never stops being a badass. Like, she just shows up at the Citadel,
Of course.
going right through immigration and customs, and when someone finally notices the galaxy's greatest pirate on their station, she just casually collects a favor from the Asari ambassador and gets off scot-free. And this is actually another parallel with history, as the British government often pardoned pirates if they agreed to join the British Navy against larger threats.
Oh, yes,
Arya
yes.
basically builds the Citadel a new navy. Then, in the Omega DLC, you can join her in taking back that titular wretched hive of scum and villainy in the space raid to end all space raids, where she actually partakes in the plundering herself for a change. And she kicks ass, showing that being a pirate Lord of Swords doesn't rust her skills one bit. See, as a space station, Omega is kind of an island in our high seas metaphor, but at the same time, it's a ship, and no one knows its inner workings better than its true captain. Once she gets into the PA system and gives a rousing speech to the inhabitants of Omega, it's all over. The revolution has begun because she inspires respect, fear, or both from her people. To hell with this Elusive Man, this is Arya T'Loak, and she's fucking back.
Yeah, and it's a shame we can never have any cool characters, especially what defines a female
Did I ever tell
empowerment.
you?
Oh no, not this guy.
Of insanity.
Yes, you did! Several times already! Can you please
Oh,
change the record, you
God.
chicken fuck? So yeah, much more
Yep,
recently,
this
Bosco
guy.
Montenegro of Far Cry fame landed in my top 10 villains, so I don't plan on repeating myself too much here. That would be the definition of insanity. So let's talk about Vaz as a pirate, and his rather unique place on this list.
By the way, oh my god, my quality is ass. Are you
As a
serious?
modern
Oh
pirate,
wow,
it
I
may
am
not be the
so
golden age of
I
pirates
am so sorry, guys.
anymore,
You
but
can go
piracy
ahead
is
and
still alive and well,
burn my
just
ass off.
a lot less fun looking.
Jesus.
Pirates were never the good guys, but back in the good old days, they had peg legs and crazy beards and swung on ropes and shivered me timbers. Now they're packing AKs and sending ransom videos. Voss sheds a particular light on this issue as
He
the
would
leader
be a
of
good
pirate
Twitch
band in
streamer.
the Rook Islands, a fictitious region of Indonesia. And you may ask yourself, why Indonesia of all places? Aren't the best pirates of the Caribbean? Does Indonesia even have pirates?
Does Indonesia have pirates? You're asking me? Okay, let me lay this down for you. Indonesia is the 14th largest country in the world by landmass, and it has the 5th largest coastline. And it had a currency crisis in the 90s, right? And honest money was hard to come by. All right, so here, the Strait
And that's
of
where the
Malacca
pirates
is a
come
major
from.
trade route. Like everything from China and Japan goes through there, and a lot of oil from the Middle East, right? So all the countries down here have small navies. So they're kind of strewn all over the place. And if pirates had to run into one of those navies, they could run into one of the
There's a random guy over there just doing some dishes or something. You see that? Right in the corner, the right hand side. You see that? I think he's just doing some dishes. Imagine him just looking back and saying, what the fuck is this guy doing?
1,900 different islands on this place.
That's how people doing
is this making it
TikTok,
clear to
how
you,
they
okay?
react
Is
to.
this actually making sense? Yes! Indonesia has pirates. Indonesia has a fifth of the world's motherfucking pirates.
Alright, chill,
Did you
man.
think I was bullshitting you? Did you think I was lying?
Oh my
Fuck
god.
you!
Okay, so to clarify, that was back in 2012, the year that Far Cry 3 came out. According to the International Maritime Bureau, it has improved since then, but Vaz as a character was pretty topical at the time. Besides being a truly heinous villain, he's also something of a tragic figure. Vaz was a member of the native Rakyat tribe under the thumb of his manipulative older sister and leader of the tribe, Citra. When drug kingpin Hoyt Volkner moved his empire to the Rook Islands, Vaz got completely hooked on his supply, and since he's equal parts insanely violent and easily controlled, Hoyt made him point man for his drug dealing and human trafficking.
You know that meme of Elmo just choosing something and there was Coke and he just put all that, you know, his nose, his eyes, his mouth, just his entire goddamn face and head into it? That is basically what this guy is. Period.
Forces, which he calls the Privateers. And I think Privateers is a telling name for this group given the historic context. Branded as pirate protection, Privateers were basically a nation's ships which governments often sent out to commit the same acts pirates did against rival nations. State-approved piracy, you could say. William Kidd was a Scottish privateer, in fact.
That's interesting.
And was only branded a pirate when he allegedly started working for his crew's interests instead of the crown's, a crime that he would hang for. Basically, this privileged white guy Hoyt, with his father's diamond mine money, is asserting himself as the law of the Rook Islands, and he keeps Vaz trapped in this self-destructive lifestyle by preying on his substance abuse and poor mental health. Most players do argue that Vaz should have been in the game longer, and that just shows how strong and tragic of a character he really is. He may have kidnapped our friends and killed our brother, but we sympathize with him, in a crazy kind of way. I can understand why Vaz would despise a bunch of rich kids vacationing in the world that Vaz wishes that he could escape from. He was even planning a mutiny against Hoyt that player character Jason inadvertently thwarted. And while Vaz is a warts and all depiction of this kind of depraved criminal activity, he's also a fucking riot. Like, he's actually channeling a bit of that old-timey pirate theatricality.
Fucking death! I said, get the fuck out of here, you chicken fuck! Run, Forrest! Run!
He allows Jason to escape for the thrill of the chase, and the next 2 times you encounter him, he attempts to kill you in very escapable ways. Once by setting fire to the building that you're in, and another time by dropping you down a ravine with a cinder block strapped to your leg. It's sort of an extension of the old walk the plank execution. Like, yeah, it'll probably kill you, but he's not gonna check. This does become his downfall, not just because you keep escaping, but because later he shoots you point blank, only for the bullet to be stopped by the lighter he used to try and burn you alive. It's like he's feeding you Jack Sparrow-style pirate escapes. And like Baltier to Vaughn, Vaz is the pirate mentor to Jason. The one Jason never asked for.
This is basically the Joker.
Vaz through the first half of the game, Jason learns to think like a homicidal pirate, even inheriting Vaz's place in the Rakyat and in his mission to kill Hoyt.
Oh,
By the end of Far Cry 3, I'd say you, Jason, are the star swashbuckler. But sadly, you're still not as fun as the guy who put it all in motion. Godspeed, Vaz. And seriously, get some help.
Yeah, go to your local, better help.
That's enough realism for today. Let's get back to the silly fantasy pirates. The ones with mechs. In the criminally underrated Mega Man Legends series, the world is 90% ocean due to some mysterious ancient Wind Waker shenanigans.
Yeah, and there will no longer be any Mega Man, and apparently all humanity had gotten erased. Fun stuff!
The depths under the sea and beneath the
islands
islands
be
are
fucking,
teeming with ruins and treasures
something
from
with
centuries
Mega.
past, and adventuring parties called
And
diggers,
ends with
like Mega Man Volnut and Roll Casket, make a living uncovering them
I'm
and traveling the world in their airships. But where there are airships, there are air pirates, who also want those treasures but go about it much more dangerously. I did consider putting the entire Bond family on this list. I mean, they really are best as a group. but limiting myself to one, I have to pick the most formidable of the bunch, Tron Bon.
Yep.
Teasel Bon is the oldest brother and
Megatron.
the leader of the group, and Bon Bon is a powerhouse, but the middle child, Tron, is the one keeping it all together. And funny enough, one of the few female pirates of the golden age of piracy was Anne Bonny, the lover of Coleco Jack, who was by all accounts way tougher than he was. Is that where the name Bond came from? Well, as cool
James
as that would
Bond.
be, all three members of the Bond family are pretty darn silly. Tron may be the smartest of the group, but she's still a joke villain, as likely to be a threat as she is a miserable failure on any given day. On your first
Really,
meeting,
like
she's
Team
hiding
Rocket.
in terror from a dog, and while the designs of her many extravagant mechs are sound, her overconfidence and growing crush on Mega Man tend to get in the way. More so than any historical inspirations, though, I think the Bonds most resemble a certain flavor of anime pirates. For example, the
Oh,
Double
gee,
Gang
I
from
didn't know.
Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky, or
Oh,
the
the-
Silver Goons from Porco Rosso.
Oh, by the way, those movies were pretty good. I really liked them. It's not like the best, like, oh my god, top 10, like, excellent, like, badass, universal things. No, no, no. There's, like, simple and fun, and it brings a smile to you. And I miss that on movies. Just brings a smile to you, and have joy, and have some awesome adventures, and, things like that.
Even Jesse and James from the Pokemon anime show.
Hey! I just mentioned them. I was about to say.
Given episode, approaching from the Sea of Sky with a new robot every week, and constantly in debt because of those same
Uh-oh.
robots. You know they aren't going to win.
A helicopter
You can
has
pretend that they're
hit a
dangerous
net
for
mech.
20 minutes at a time, and you can count on them to help you out when the real threat shows up, especially because they won't die halfway through the game. Vaz! While the Bonds are a constant nuisance throughout Legends 1 and 2, there's a game in between called The Misadventures of Tron Bon where we see firsthand how good Tron actually is at running a seaside criminal operation. With her brother being held hostage by loan sharks, it's up to Tron to raise 2 million Zenny and buy his freedom, which she earns through a string of successful heists. She'll steal anything, money from the banks, treasure from dungeons, entire shipping containers from the piers, even cows and thoroughbred horses. She leads the charge
fuck?
herself in her most famous mech, the Gustav.
I mean, that
backed
shit
by a
would work.
contingent of Servbots, and blow me down, I haven't even mentioned the Servbots yet. These Lego-headed minions were built by Tron herself and think of her as their mother. They might not be
Aw.
the brightest sail in the mast, but Tron keeps them in line and trains them each in different areas. They can help her around the ship, work in R&D. Somehow they're allowed to gamble at a casino while you're away. And if one of them gets lazy, Tron can motivate them in the torture chamber. What the fuck?
Oh,
Well, I
jeez.
don't condone it.
But hey,
it
it's just
seems
like
to
high
work,
school.
As they're very effective in the field, holding enemies in place for Tron to blast, or stealing the wheels right off of police cars. Fight the power, little guys. So as far as success rate goes, her record is spotty. She's really her own worst enemy, bumbling big time whenever Mega Man's around. But when Mega Man's not around, she's got this highly lucrative Servbot enterprise going. 2 million Zenny is a lot of money, but Tron makes it easily and could probably have kept that racket going if Teasel didn't take back the captain's seat. Maybe it's her brothers that weighed Tron down from being a legendary pirate. Without them, Tron could finally win Mega Man's heart and they can team up for an adorable reign of terror. But Tron wouldn't be one of our favorites if she didn't have that family connection. These three love each other, and they even have little family meetings over coffee. It's so wholesome. It's her intelligence and
Aw.
wiles that make me like Tron, but it's all the imperfections that make me love her. And it made Legends 3's cancellation so heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
Seriously, Capcom, tell me what happened to the Bond family business, and how could you remove her from NBC Infinite? Do you guys hate fun? And you must
Yes,
hate money
they do.
because no one brings home the bacon faster than Tron Bond does. And the beef. And the horses. And the cops' tires. And obviously the Zenny.
Yeah, basically
Lots of Zenny.
everything. Everything that could be valuable. Alright, number 5. Yeah, this isn't a cool list,
While we're
actually.
on the
I
topic
really
of
like
recurring
this.
baddies, occasional
Oh
allies,
my,
and badass
yep. Well, guys, enjoy your underwear because you're gonna have to make a lot of replacements.
pirate ladies. How about Risky Boots from the Shantae series?
This
And that's not her only
crazy
similarity to Miss Bond
bitch.
either. She also runs a crew of identical-looking scoundrels, in her case the Tinkerbats, and she also employs multiple high-tech vehicles, the steam-powered Tinker Tank and the steam-powered Tinker Tub, and also the part omni-organic, part Titanic, ocean-optional Tinker Slug. Or
Poop
Poop Toot, for short.
Poop.
Don't pretend to be mad, Risky. We're pretty sure you did that on purpose. But setting Risky a cut above
It's
is
basically like Doofenshmirtz making his like gathering his entire like villain like co-workers and say, okay, we are blah 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 blah, and someone said, so we are supposed to be called Love Muffin.
More
I thought
illustrious
that was
track
funny.
record as the Scourge of
Ah, Miss
Secretland.
Phineas.
I don't know
And
if she
Fud.
clears 2 mil like Tron did, but take a look at some of these feats. First of all, Risky inherited her throne from the Great Pirate Master, to which Risky was first mate. The genies of old, Shantae's ancestors, had to band together to defeat the Pirate Master and lock away his malignant spirit, and Risky was there to swoop in and take his stuff.
Yeah,
Her
fan
army of Tinkerbats,
service.
of course, but also an array of magical pirate tools. A pistol that never runs out of ammo, boots that
Oh,
let
that
her
would be
run
cool.
fast and kick hard, an enchanted scimitar that mows through enemies, a portable cannon, and a hat that works like a parachute. The fact that she's got all the quintessential pirate accessories earns her a lot of points for this list, but that's not even the coolest part of her wardrobe. Risky fashioned her old boss's skull into a bra and his jawbone into the lining of her pants.
Okay, I did
That's
not know
one
about
hell
that.
of a power move. And of course, history has a slew of vicious lady pirates, but Risky reminds me most of Zhang Yi Sao, pirate queen of the South China Sea. She took over her dead husband's band and grew it into arguably the most successful armada of pirates in history. And if Gaijin Goomba is to be
Wait, is
believed,
that her?
Secretland is based in Turkey, and that's kinda close to China, if you squint hard enough. And as far as her pirating style, Risky is always looking for some dangerous treasure, and she's masterful at manipulating Shantae into doing half the fetch questing. Like in Shantae 1, Risky keeps getting knocked out by the dungeon bosses, leaving Shantae to take the crystal they protect, but it seems like this was always the plan, just so she could swipe the whole set using her genie disguise. Same goes for Risky's revenge. Shantae collects all the MacGuffins, but then has to trade them all into Risky in exchange for her uncle's life. Risky then achieves Chessmaster status in 7 Sirens, organizing the original event knowing the Siren Queen will come to kidnap half the genies, and knowing Shantae will defeat the Siren Queen. Also, Risky can make off with her legendary ship. Totally would have worked too if Shantae didn't destroy the damn thing in the final boss fight. It kind of feels like Risky actually earned the treasure that time. That's really lame. She's also the only villain to have a lasting impact in the series, removing Shantae's magic powers for an entire game with a magic lamp. I don't see Tron stripping Mega Man of his weapons for an entire installment. Though
That's
seriously,
impressive.
just have the Surfbots take his legs. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the best game in the series is the one that Risky's most featured in, Pirate's Curse, where the Pirate Master's back and the girl has to team up with her nemesis to defeat him. Risky plays all helpless in this one, like she needs Shantae to gather up all of her pirate tools again, hence why Shantae's the one to put into use here. And I know that this is all very traumatic for Risky, but I'm calling BS. I'm pretty sure she's just making Shantae do the heavy lifting as always. Risky
I mean,
even gets
yeah,
the coup de
of course.
grace on her old boss with a big old cannon. It's like even when Risky's losing, she's winning. Like, Shantae, I don't know if you realize this, but you've done more for Risky's pirate career than anyone. Risky didn't even have to say, I wish. But when you're that good at playing the field, everyone's on your crew. They just don't know it yet. Risky may not have a
Essentially,
perfect
yeah.
W under her jawbone belt, but unlike most of the other pirates on this list, she's still out there causing havoc. Any shipwreck you can walk away from, am I right?
Number 4. Bye.
You know how Red Dead Redemption 2 is like the cowboy game and Ghost of Tsushima is like the samurai
Oh,
game?
is this gonna be?
Well, what would you say is like the pirate game? Well, okay, what would you say is the pirate game that I've actually played? Well, for almost 10 years, that game was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Ah,
The
okay,
series up to
yeah.
that point laid out a strong
I knew it.
foundation
Well,
of
it was gonna be
historic
one of them,
gameplay,
but yeah.
And its previous installment introduced maritime combat to show those
Whee!
jolly old redcoats what for. Stabbing a guy is fun and all, but have you ever stabbed an enemy schooner? With your own vessel? At 12 knots? Assassin's Creed 4 focuses on that aqualific edition, relocates the killings to the West Indies, and puts you in the briny boots of assassin pirate Edward Kenway. A 17th century farmer with dreams of fame and fortune, Edward left his wife and family to join the British privateers, hoping to make a name for himself. Unfortunately, the war with the Spanish ended soon after, and the captain of Edward's ship, like so many others, decided to turn to piracy. And given the choice between a life of crime and a watery grave, Edward decided to join him.
Oh, no.
Always getting in the wrong
Sorry.
place at the right time, Edward
Sorry.
soon finds himself caught between the Assassins and the Templars in their history-spanning secret war. And contrary to the previous protagonists of the series, Edward's not dedicated to a cause or particularly interested in doing good. He's in it for whatever benefits him the most at any given moment. I.e., he's a pirate.
Yeah.
He said it! He said it!
It's not until the late game when he realizes that all of his swashbuckling has left him with nothing and no one. Well, nothing but millions of 1600s gold and a legacy of the long-lost Pirate King, but no one left alive to share it with. Only
Aw,
then
he's
does he join
lonely.
the cause and fly a new version of the Jolly Roger with the Assassin's logo on it. Kinda thought they were supposed to keep that a secret organization, but then again, pirates were never a subtle lot. And while his personality might seem drab among the jollier Rogers on this list, playing as Edward is the most I've ever felt like a pirate raider. The most physically capable of the Creed protagonists up to this point, Edward breezes through enemy combat with his sword,
Look at
knife,
those
axe, and
combos.
pistol skills. It could just be that the enemy AI is a little dumber in this game, but I like to think that they're all scared by Edward's cutthroat acumen. Of course, the best
I mean,
part
yeah,
of Black
you can
Flag
never expect
is
a
the ship
pirate to be
combat.
this fucking
I haven't made a big
badass.
deal of most entries' ships so far, but the Jackdaw, this repurposed Spanish brig, is basically the game's second playable character. A vessel once historically believable, but then egregiously overkill once fully upgraded. Besides your broadside cannons, you've got swivel guns on the main deck in case you want to get specific with your targets, a solid steel hull so thick I'm surprised it floats, a variety of ammunition options including heated rounds to burn the opposition and chain volleys to cripple their masts, and best of all, you can go back and forth between steering, commanding your crew, and running around on foot completely seamlessly. And the rigging's bedecked with enough ropes to let you live out your Jack Sparrow fantasies, swinging to
Jeez.
enemy ships and relieving them of their cargo before they can say,
Where's Rum gone?
I was hesitant.
Dude. It's just, it hurts me because, like, we're in 2026 and I am seeing so many shitty games. And this was in, like, what, in the 2000s? And this shit was just, it was perfect. And for some reason, it just, like, we're just devolving in video games. Or we're just, we're just, assholes. Or we're both. Like, it's so crazy. Like, just give the people what they want. God, it makes you less of an asshole.
Compare Kenway to a real-world pirate because, as the story goes, he bumps shoulders with the most famous of them. You've got Robert Hornigold, Anne Bonny, Mary Reed, Calico Jack, Bartholomew Roberts, Steve Bonnet, and of course, Blackbeard himself. Edward was meant to stand among them, not be a copy. But if you wanted to compare him to a legendary sailor, his ending does give me the vibes of Odysseus from the Odyssey. After about 20 years of sailing and war, Kenway comes back to where he started, confronting the braggarts back home and a child he never knew he had. There's a catharsis to coming home and killing your schoolyard bullies, but there's also a sense of reflection to the whole adventure. Did the years of piracy even matter? What has Edward given up in his pursuit of adventure? Was it all worth it? Yeah,
Damn.
of course it was. Do you see this shit?
Yep.
And that was without a single drop of rum.
Alright, number 3. Hopefully Disney does
I
not
guess
fucking
BioWare
copyright
really
strike
knows
me.
how to write sexy badass pirate queens because first we had Arya Tolok,
Yes.
and now we have Isabella from Dragon Age. A cunning corsair with a sharp tongue and 2 sharper daggers, Isabella is 3 for 3 in Dragon Age appearances. In Origins, she's an NPC who can teach you the duelist specialization. In Dragon Age 2, she's a full-fledged companion and possible romantic option, sporting a beefed-up design, which she comments on. And while she doesn't appear in Inquisition's story, she is playable in the multiplayer mode. First of all, I love the pulpiness around this character. Both stories she appears in, you first meet her in a sleazy shoreside bar, and both
Oh,
times
shit.
she's wiping the floor with some slack-jawed henchman that took her for just a pretty face. Loving the tropes,
Fucking widow
BioWare.
makeover here.
Secondly, I like the pretty face, and her voice, and other things about her. Look, I know my
I
audience, and I
see.
know a lot of you agree with me. I looked her up while researching this list to jog my memory, and the first 20 video results are devoted
God
to the sexual
damn, they're going
escapades you
in.
can have with her. She's one of, if not the first bisexual companion in the series, willing to
Really?
date you no matter what gender you picked. And
Oh,
if you
yeah,
want
of
to learn
course,
that
I mean,
duelist
it's,
specialization in Origins, you'll have
RPG.
to duel her first, either by beating her cheating ass in cards, or following her cheating ass to the bedroom. And that second option might not even be a duel, it could be a melee à trois, or even a 4-player free-for-all. You'd be surprised by all the calculations people have come up with to get every combination of lovers in this one scene. Promiscuity is her main feature, but Isabella wasn't always so free-spirited. By talking to her more or reading her tie-in comic, we learn that she grew up as an accomplice to her single mother's thievery until the day her mother sold her away as a bride. While married to
Damn.
a stuck-up rich boy, she learned knife play and other kinds of play from Zevran, the assassin who was eventually hired to kill her unsavory husband. She claims she had nothing to do with it, but she totally did.
Yeah,
Following
yeah.
that, she
I mean,
took to
she's a
piracy,
pirate, of course.
eventually womaning the Siren's Call and ruling the Eastern Seas for years. So, historic parallel time. I'm gonna go with one of my favorites, Mary Read, most famously known as the woman who poses a man for most of her pirate career, working alongside fellow female pirate Anne Bonny on Calico Jack's ship, and being pardoned for execution when both she and Anne were pregnant with Jack's babies after he was captured. Reed also grew up helping her single mother perpetuate a lie to make money. That's actually the reason she started dressing as a man, so she can earn her dead half-brother's inheritance.
Yeah.
And many accounts say that she was very salacious during battle, even sword-fighting shirtless to take advantage of her opponent's wandering eyes.
I mean, like in these moments, I'm just going back in one piece and just see like, hey, why can't you do that? Like, why can't you just have a woman dress up as a man and then do some badass shit? Like, I remember the time the Zoro childhood friend like wanted to be the best sword woman of all time, and she could have, but because she's a woman, it didn't happen. And plus, she got killed by stairs. By the way, that shit is so dumb. Like, how in the hell did you just got killed by falling down from stairs? Like, how does that even make sense? Like, that doesn't make like it doesn't make sense. She beats Zoran like a shit ton of times, and you gotta tell me a goddamn stairs was the one to beat her. Okay, and plus there was another that what's her name? It was from Dressrosa. It was like a princess that became a warrior, but like she did it like pretty. She didn't do very good as a warrior. If you understand, like I just think like surely she would have been like at least like a very good combatant, but no, she isn't. And it's just like these realistic females that dress like women and does these incredible tactics, these incredible like decision making in human history, and yet people don't talk about it. It's so weird. Like they only talk about things that we will know all the time, like Abraham Lincoln, the slave trade, the American Revolution. Like all these things are just getting repeated time and time again. And then we have history that people do not know, like the certain characters, the certain events, the certain motivations, like so many things that could have been so awesome to learn, but we just keep just telling stories that we already know, and it sucks. It's just terrible. And I hope that we can learn much more than what we already know.
Her friendship with Anne Bonny kicked off volumes of steamy historical fanfiction. And yeah, Isabella is a character where all that steaminess is out in the open.
Of course, I mean, just look.
Very open. Keep her in your party and she's making innuendos left and right. Bring Aveline into the mix and those harmless innuendos turn into a keg of lit gunpowder. Her swashbuckling skill set also allows her to insult enemies with mockery so vicious they'll lose 25% defense, drop everything they're doing, and run across the battlefield to fight one-on-one. She always did love being the center of attention. And all of this
what did they say? What does she say to them?
Growing her approval score means living on the wild side. She hates to see you enforcing archaic rules, especially on her, and she actually prefers it when you ask for payment for your good deeds rather than helping others altruistically. Ultimately, she likes a hawk that knows what they want. But within that salty seductress is a heart of gold.
Yes.
The only reason that she needs your help in Dragon Age 2 is because she owes a favor to a former contractor. She was supposed to deliver a shipment of cargo for them, but when she found out that that cargo was slaves, she lets them all go, not wanting to put anyone in the position of powerlessness that she once found herself in. I love that she draws that line in the sand, even if it puts her in debt to some awful people. And if you help her through that deal and its fallout, she'll stand by you at the end of the game, whether you support the mages or the Templars, though she'll offhandedly snark about the Templars being self-righteous pricks. Speaking of, another way to raise her approval on some occasions is encouraging mages to be free of the circle, most likely as she feels some form of kinship with their situation. The joy of watching any roguish character is learning what they're willing or unwilling to do.
Yeah.
And to Isabella, there are far worse things than being a pirate. She got into this game in the name of freedom. She's not gonna take that from anyone. Unless it's their freedom to keep breathing.
I mean, yeah, but that too. Alright, number 2. Damn, she was number 3? Oh,
When I
who's
said that
better?
Assassin's Creed 4 was like the pirate game,
Yeah.
I meant in a sense of putting you in a big nautical world and letting you travel around in it like a pirate. But if we had to pick the most influential
Secrets
pirate
of
game,
Monkey
a
Island.
top contender would be The Secret of Monkey Island.
What's
a
this?
point-and-click adventure from 1990 and the first in a series of 6. The franchise revolves around the timeless struggle between the plucky hero Guybrush Threepwood and the sinister Captain LeChuck. And let me tell you,
LeChuck.
mateys, I had a whale of a time trying to pick between the two for the list. Deciding is like pulling out your own scurvy rotten teeth. But methinks I'd be going with the villain on this one. Sorry, Guybrush, you're just kind of a hapless klutz. You have your moments of brilliance, but for the most part, you failed upward
Is
these
that
past
Frog?
33 years. But then again, that does put him in a similar boat as Jack Sparrow. Dumb luck is a crucial trait for pirates. But Monkey Island fans will remember that Threepwood never actually completed the initiation to become a pirate in the first place. Whereas LeChuck, well, secure the rigging, mateys. Choppy
Warning,
seas
major
ahead.
spoilers ahead.
So what
Okay,
if
go
every
ahead.
tall tale about every malevolent pirate were true? That would only begin to approach a description of LeChuck. Once a suitor to the beautiful Elaine Marley, Elaine told him to go to hell, and LeChuck took that instruction literally, finding a portal to the afterlife and becoming a fearsome ghost pirate. In the first game, Guybrush
Damn.
is only allowed to audition for pirate status because of a pirate shortage caused by the Caribbean's collective fear of LeChuck. It's probably because he commands legions of the undead and lives on
Of
a river
course.
of lava under Monkey Island and can
Damn.
uppercut a grown man hard enough to launch him across the Trinidad. The only real threat to LeChuck at this point is the enigmatic voodoo lady, who can concoct a potion from a magical root that can kill LeChuck. LeChuck is eventually destroyed with a bottle of root beer because that's just the kind of logic that this game operates on. But that's far from the last we see of LeChuck. He's up there with Dracula, Ganondorf, and Xehanort in the Hall of Not Staying Dead. LeChuck is
Oh,
later
really?
ritually resurrected by his own still-living beard, returning now as a zombie rather than a ghost. Zombie LeChuck is later killed again by a voodoo-infused cannonball explosion, but this only knocks his spirit into his boots. Once those boots are picked up by an unsuspecting vessel, LeChuck respawns again as a demon, beard of flame like freaking Ares from God of War, and with a simple spell transforms the entire ship's crew into his new subservient skeletal horde. Yeah, that's a thing he can just do. Instant death and domination of 100 people just by standing on their boat. He also survives having an amusement park collapse on him, and even the fabled Cutlass of Kaflu doesn't work. Instead, it releases all of the evil magic inside of him as an airborne pox that zombifies anyone who breathes it.
Oh,
leaving
it's a
LeChuck
pock. Okay.
back to a normal human? And he's actually kind of
Huh.
a great guy now. You can really appreciate what a capable sailor and leader he is now that he's helping out the good guys. Or
Oh, so he's... Oh, never mind. I was about to say, so he's like Garmadon from Lego Ninjago.
is he? Because in fact, LeChuck still had plenty of evil magic inside of him, and this was all a ruse to defeat the voodoo lady and steal Guybrush's wife.
Never mind.
Imagine that. If Ganondorf became Calamity Ganon and threatened all of Hyrule, but Ganondorf was also around in the flesh killing people and stealing your wife. And this is what
I,
one of the
I had to say, that fucking scene is so... It's the way that he just fucking smiled. Like, this is like the most... Hold on, I need to rewind. I need to rewind back. Hold on, let me
If
pause
Ganondorf
it.
became
Look
Calamity
at this.
Ganon and threatened all of Hyrule, but Ganondorf was also around in the flesh killing people and stealing your wife.
Dude, this is Mr. Steel. Steel, little bitch.
And this is but one of the great LeChuck feats and deceits over the course of the series, surpassing even risky boots and making the hero run around in circles. He's taken on clever disguises from Sheriff Fester Shinetop in the first game to Charles L. Charles in Escape from Monkey Island, in which he ran against Elaine as governor of the island and won. Oh, and you know how Isabella can affect enemies with her insults? LeChuck learned an insult so powerful it could emotionally destroy people forever. And somehow,
really? What does he
can
say?
use it to power a giant mech, so he's also elbowing in on Tronbon's territory. Then there's that famous ending of LeChuck's Revenge, where we find out that LeChuck is actually Guybrush's brother Chucky, and the two of them were just boys playing at a pirate theme park this whole time. Except even that isn't true. That's
What
all
the
just an
fuck
illusion
is
created
going
by
on?
LeChuck's Carnival of the Damned, which is just the thing he has. Except maybe it is true? Because when the series creator came back to make the last game, he went back to this idea with a mystifying ending to the series that's largely up to interpretation. LeChuck basically gaslit the entire fan base, Danganronpa style. I don't even know what's real anymore.
What is he, like a
So, how do
fucking
we kill this guy
enigma?
for good? Well, the closest we've gotten is in Tales of Monkey Island, where Guybrush and friends had to close the rift between life and death on LeChuck when he was halfway through, and then stab him from both sides of the rift simultaneously so that both his physical and spiritual self would die at the same time. And even that left some remnants that the voodoo lady had collected, and maybe that's why he came back and returned to Monkey Island without explanation. Some games are or aren't canon depending on who you ask, but the most important canon is the one on LeChuck's ship, which, fun fact, is called Le Ship. Oh my god, I really can't with this guy.
Le Ship.
Well, whichever one of his variable forms he takes, LeChuck is an underrated video game villain who deserves to be listed among the greats, and certainly deserves to be listed above all other pirates. All pirates except one, of course. And no, that pirate isn't Guybrush. Seriously, have you seen him? He's useless.
Damn. Dude, like, I have never heard of him, and I am very interested of, like, this character right now. I'm not gonna lie, this guy sounds pretty interesting. Jeez. You gonna tell me we have this much of a fun character as a pirate and no one talks about him? Then that sucks. So, who's number one? Who's the best of the best?
Historically speaking, pirates are generally not good people.
Yeah.
I like to think that each individual in history had some reason to travel the path that they went down, and in many ways, pirates were sticking it to the imperial European governments that also were generally not nice people.
Yeah,
The pirates on this
I mean,
list, good
Texas,
or evil,
for
have
example.
some sort of redeeming quality that makes them more sympathetic. Even LeChuck, evilest among them, was acting out of hopeless love for Elaine
Who's
Marley,
the evil
and
of
Vaz
evils?
Montenegro, as we've explained,
Yeah, he's
was
mentally
kind of taken
disabled.
advantage of. But the number one pirate needs no singular redeeming
Is it
quality
Pokemon?
because he is an absolute good. The kind of heroic pirate we all wish existed in our
It's
world.
not Jack Sparrow, is
If
it?
only we instead lived in the world of Arcadia.
Arcadia? I've never heard of this game before.
Skies of Arcadia takes place in a land of endless sky, decorated by floating islands of terra firma and traveled by airships. And where there's ships, there be pirates.
Yes,
Coming
of
in
course.
two distinct flavors. You've got the black pirates, the kind of dangerous, bloodthirsty thieves that will attack anyone who looks at them funny, and the Robin Hood-esque blue rogues, who, while certainly breaking the law, only target the cargo of oppressive military powers like the Valuan Empire. Vise is the epitome of this lifestyle, preferring to intimidate his enemies with a flashy entrance and relieve them of their valuables with as few casualties as possible. Though when push comes to shove, he gets work done with those multicolored cutlasses. Vise was trained by his father, Dine, one of the greatest blue rogues of his generation, and joined every step of the way by his best friend, Aika, an amazing first mate who'd be damn near second place on this list if I didn't limit one per franchise. They're also just a really cute couple, and that's saying something because every girl who meets Vise wants a piece of him. Take it down a notch, Beleza, he's 17. Vise and
Jeez.
Aika have a chance meeting with a pilgrim named Fina
Is that Elsa?
and end up traveling the world on a quest to save it. But even without Fina, Vise was always destined for adventure, always looking to the next horizon and wondering what's beyond it. And this spirit of discovery is probably the defining feature of this game, and the reason why it stands out in the Sea of 2000's JRPGs. While Assassin's Creed 4 and Sea of Thieves probably let you experience raids of sword
Damn.
fighting the way a pirate would experience them, Skies of Arcadia lets you experience the exploration, the wide
shit.
unknown that pirates, nay, all sailors must have felt when they looked at the ocean way back when. Not that there isn't a fair bit of combat. I'd say that the ship battles in Skies, though slow and rather abstract, were way ahead of their time, with Vise making daring and strategic maneuvers that could drastically alter the playing field. That's something that could really be improved on if they ever made an HD remake. And let me say that again. If it ever gets an HD remake, Sega, or at least a port so people can play it. Sorry. But aside from the combat, Vise is our avatar to live out our schoolyard Neverland dreams. He's not Blackbeard or Bonnet or Coleco Jack. He's Jim Hawkins from Treasure Island. Or any kid who ever thought pirates were cool in books and wanted to be one, except he's actually doing it and becoming the best at it. Like many of my favorite heroes, it's incredible how quickly Vise goes from starry-eyed scallywag to the most powerful force in the sky. There's a Let's Play of Skies of Arcadia Legends that Comic Foil and I did on his channel. Go check that out, please. And it became a running gag between us, realizing just how many times Vise becomes the first in the world to do something. First to sail through the Dark Rift. First to circumnavigate the world. First to escape the impregnable Valuin Fortress. Second to escape the impregnable Valuin Fortress.
Damn.
First to come back from the pressure-heavy deep sky. And first in centuries to go to space. So he's also Ferdinand Magellan, John Anglin, and Neil Armstrong, among others. You can't get any more over the horizon than that. Or can you? Because after seeing everything that this planet has to offer, Vise ends the game with that same optimistic wonder he started with. And that's not to downplay the crime part of being a pirate either, like his aforementioned double escape in the world's most secure fortress. And how about getting the Gigas from the Maw of Tardis by just sailing under the island and finding another way in? The best thing he ever stole is his ship, the mother effing Delphinus, a cutting-edge destroyer with a
Damn.
Death Star laser, fully staffed by the
Holy
wild cast
shit.
of characters Vise hires over the course of the game. And you wouldn't guess it from his age, but he's also an amazing leader, managing a desert island into
How
a
old is he?
five-star
Is he
pirate
what,
resort.
like
And
16?
all of this is without mentioning the side quests. Many crewmates, bounty battles, and the bouts with the Angel of Death are optional, but I've never met anyone who played this game and didn't near 100% it, or at least try to. Because playing as Vise just makes you want to do everything. The kid's not old enough to vote, and he's got the skeletal ghost of the King of Pirates tipping his hat to him and protecting him in battle, which isn't
Damn.
even his best move.
So you got
in the end, where
Stan.
am I going with all this? Well, a lot of games on this list give you many opportunities to experience the different sides of piracy.
Yeah.
You step into the captain's shoes with Gangplank and Kenway. You fear them as adversaries with Risky Boots, Boz Montenegro, or Captain LeChuck. And you even learn what it feels like to be a part of their crew with Baltier, Isabella, or Arya T'Loak. Skies of Arcadia, however, I feel gives you the truest and purest experience of what it truly means to be a pirate. While Vise isn't the spitting image of the rough and tough criminals in history, he gives you the chance to do everything a pirate would. You sail the seven skies in your own
Yeah, that's what
ship.
it looks
You
like.
amass a crew of plucky yet loyal shipmates. You stick it to an oppressive power, raid vaults and ruins for buried treasure. You catalog the world, endear yourself to potential allies, and strike fear into your enemies. You slash into your foes with the most piratey weapons you could ever hope for. Skies of Arcadia, at the end of the day, sits you down and lets you know that you are a pirate.
Damn right.
And there isn't a drop of seawater in sight. I'm the Green Scorpion, and thank you for joining me for this swashbuckling seaborne countdown. Let me know down in the comments if you have a favorite pirate that didn't make the list. Just don't go talking smack down there, or I'll make you walk the plank, you scurvy dogs. Here's to smooth sailing, me hearties.
Damn. Yeah, that was. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty interesting. I really, really like Green Scorpion. I really like how he, bring both real life examples and adding, the gameplay as well, with giving us like how these characters that we really like, either by realistically or personally or just like a joy fest, and that was pretty interesting. I gotta say, I believe this probably one of a content creator that I never thought existed, but I'm glad he exists. Thank you so much for recommending for this reaction video. I want to see if people are interested of, for me to continue more of the list, because he has a lot of lists. He got a lot of things to cover down. But yeah, when I was a little kid, I always thought that being a pirate was cool. And it was, just the freedom and the adventure. And the final, no, not the final, the very first, place really capsulate of the pirate, of how, not just me, but I feel like everyone, feels about the adventure, the freedom, the action, the lessons, like so much things. And it just, it brings a good part in our childhood. So, what you guys thought? Was this a good reaction? You want me to continue more? Let me know. And I will leave a link in the description down below of this video with, Green Scorpion. And yeah, and I'll catch you in the next one. Also, I will be reacting to something that, I'm just very wondering if I could react to. I'm not sure if you guys will be interesting, but for me, it will be very nice and personal. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.